is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
All right, back on the Domino's post-game report. Adam Cavalier alongside the Victoria's head coach, Mike Clowney. Mike, a defensive dandy in the all-black jerseys. You've given up exactly 3 points in 8 quarters of all-black jersey football. I think the second half tells the tale. 3 3-and-outs, a pick, and just 1 first down for Virginia-Lynchburg. What did you see out of this team, especially defensively, keyed in for a thorough and complete victory on opening night?
You know, I was proud of the way our defense played. I thought they played with really good energy. The good thing about defense is we got several guys coming back there kind of doing the same thing. So some of that is what you really kind of want to see, with them finding a little bit of a groove, being able to communicate with one another, and, you know, eventually that kind of turns into stops and them making plays.
Tone was set early. Offense was not flashy, but consistent. I can't think of a Carson-Newman football game that I've done in the last 12 years where you only had 2 plays longer than 20 yards, you didn't have a rush longer than 15 yards, and you won by 32 with 25 first downs. Speak to your offense and what worked for it today.
You know, I think the big thing is, you know, with Kevin being new and our guys still kind of working to learn, you know, I thought they did a good job of what you're talking about, being really methodical. You know, there's a sense of just trying to figure out, you know, who we are, who our kids are, and, you know, which ones will step up and perform in different situations for us. And so I thought, you know, just being able to go through that experience and be able to kind of be consistent on moving the football, but not overly flashy. You know, I think that's something that's a good mark. You know, I think as kids kind of find a little bit better groove and know what to do, and we can attack the ball a little bit better. Hopefully we'll be able to convert that into a couple more explosive plays.
Still just consistent, steady, especially in the ground. 9 guys rushed tonight, 274 yards on the ground. And that does not include T.J. King and Tyree Nelson, who have been dinged up through camp. Your 2 preseason all-conference running backs held out today. What you see from your running backs, it was the new that kind of had the flash and the yardage between Cam Ferguson and Jaden Sullins.
You know, that's where we know as a football team, even before the season started, that, you know, we're going to have to get a lot of production out of running back room, and that's one big thing of challenging those guys to not be comfortable, but to go out and work and compete. You know, it was good to see the 2 new guys be able to come in and compete. You know, Jaden, the guy that was, you know, technically ineligible last year, and he's been here, just to be able to see him get back on the field working and competing, and to kind of see his transition is pleasing. Cam, just kind of straight out of high school, new guy, that you can see guys kind of buying into him. But, like, the thing with him is he's been what we talked about all summer long. He's been just kind of a steady Eddie. He comes in, he works as hard as he can every day. And, you know, the thing we always talk about, if you do that every single day, then you'll kind of start seeing, you know, some of that production you want. Then TC, you know, being able to score a couple touchdowns for us. You know, the only thing there, we did put the ball on the ground a couple times, didn't lose them, but we've got to make sure that we take care of the football.
Defensively, I want to revisit that. Just the 4th time in school history you've held a team under 2 yards of offense. Outside of the field goal drive for VUL, 7 yards of offense. What do you owe that to for your defense?
Yeah, I think Coach Slade and his staff had a really good plan. But I think, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a good plan if kids don't go execute it. You know, I thought they did a good job of executing it. Only thing I really remember that glares is like we lost it back out in the backfield one time that got a big play and we gave up a penalty. But other than that, for the most part, we played sound assignment football, made tackles for the most part, and, you know, just continue to grow from there.
I think the thing that you told me throughout fall camp was the defense just runs the ball.
And that makes up for a lot of mistakes if you'll do that.
That was – I didn't – again, let's call me what I am, a football novice at the end of the day. I didn't see many mistakes, but I did see a fair amount of guys were where the football was.
Yep. And I think, you know, when guys run to the football, the mistakes don't show up as bad. Now, I'm sure when we go in and we break this video down, we're going to find a million of them. But, like, you know, at least just give you a good atmosphere to coach off of.
Defensive line was in the backfield frequently. Ja'Cory Long, it seemed like he took his game to a different level today. Jake Cottle as well. Those guys, again, you hold a team to 75 yards of offense, your defense is doing something right. But it felt like it was more about the unit it's hard to pick out an individual. There's so much good on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I think that I would agree with that assessment. You know, even when you look at it, you know, there's not a whole lot of times that you just see one guy make a tackle. You're trying to figure out like who, you know, in that crowd made a tackle. And like that's exactly what you want to see when you come and watch film of a defensive football team.
The first quarter, you score on your first 2 times that you touch the football, kind of entered the doldrums offensively in the second quarter. What'd you tell your team halftime locker room to get things right, to come out and then score back-to-back possessions to start the third?
You know, I think that's the most disappointing part of the game to me. So like we come out, we score, we come out and we score, and then it's like we got bored with the game almost. You know, and like that can't happen. Like we have to kind of, you know, continue to attack the football game. So my message at halftime was the fact that, you know, like we're too casual. Like we talk about, you know, where we want to go and what we want to be, but that means that there's a standard that you hold all the time, regardless of whether you're down by 14 or up by 14. Like you have to go play the play that's in front of you.
In a lot of ways, it felt like an opening game. There were certainly some moments where opening game jitters showed, but also some crispness. What are the next steps for this team? You've got a long week to get ready to play up a division for the first time in 16 years, heading over to Johnson City to take on ETSU on September 9th.
You know, the big thing for us is going to be dissecting this video just to make sure that we can get things that we need to get cleaned up. You know, we'll be able to better talk about, you know, the kids and what they can do and what they can't do. You know, a lot of times in practice situations and scenarios, it's hard to really figure that out. You know, like defensively, like this may be like the first time, like I think only maybe 3 times this spring we really tackle to the ground, and just to see them, you know, be able to get out and do that. And so we'll be able to go back in and evaluate ourselves offensively from an execution standpoint. Just kind of, it's going to be interesting to me. You know, I know we had the lull, but like to see where the execution levels were, where we're actually getting routes and running things the way we're supposed to. You know, or, you know, one thing that you always want is that effort to be able to kick in. Like how much of that was just effort and guys grinding stuff out, as opposed to us kind of running and hitting schemes the way we're supposed to.
Mike Clowney, pleasure as always. Congrats on a fine season opening win, 35-3 over Virginia-Lynchburg.
Thank you, Cal.
That's Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. When we return on the Domino's post-game report, we start checking in with players. Zane Whitson, Jake Cottle to the microphone. That's when we head back after this on the Eagles Sports Network.